welcome to our recap of The Bachelorette, The Men Tell All.
The most controversial Bachelorette ever in the history of the world, the universe, everything.
Wow, that's a lot. So that's Kaitlyn,
They say
if you guys
that
missed that.
every season.
Yeah, but I think especially this season, it was pretty like, what?
Well, the boys are back in town. Boys are back in town.
They bring back whoever wanted to come back.
Pretty much most of the
Most
principals.
of them, yeah. Most of them came back.
They had a lot of scrubs in there.
Like drunk Ryan.
And freaking Corey. I mean, what was he there for, 5 minutes?
Corey was like barely on the show, and he had a lot to say.
He had a really lot to say. And Jonathan, too. He was barely on the show. And Jonathan was great for the reactions. I'm sure the producers loved him because he was always like...
Yeah, so before we can get to this little reunion, it's time for them to tease the dirtiest show of the summer.
Bachelor in Paradise, or read that as Intercourse Island.
Pretty much.
That's for people who can't afford softcore porn on cable. They have to put that on for them because otherwise they would go insane.
There's a lot of crying in there, though. I mean, like, half of the preview was just Ashley I crying.
Well, horny guys have to watch that with their girlfriends. So the girlfriends watch it for the crying. The other guys watch it for the skimpy suits.
Okay, but what was going on with Ashley S? She got taken away on a stretcher.
Are you surprised?
Give her onions. Make her feel better.
Maybe they gave her pomegranates and she thought they were onions.
I don't know.
It won't work. Alright, well... Could they have picked 2 more sad sacks to read cue cards about Kaitlyn picking her nose?
Yeah, they had the whole bleachable moments thing. They brought that to a close for the season, hosted by Joe from this season and Becca from Chris Soule's season.
So they were just basically like...
Now we will talk about bleachable, embarrassing moments.
What?
Yeah. Anyway.
They started off with a little recap of the season. Whole lot of wrong reasons.
You know, it comes up every season. Who's here for the right reasons? The right reason.
Everyone's here for the wrong reasons, usually. Including Nick the villain.
Was he there for the wrong reasons, though?
I don't know. I think he likes being on TV, but I'm rooting for him.
Ah! Yeah, so Nick was a very big storyline this season. We'll come back to that.
Alright. Well, Ian... was an a-hole this season.
I still can't believe the way he went off on Kaitlyn before he left.
He was the Princeton former model.
Been around the world multiple times.
I'm a big baby.
Did he really think that that was going to help him become the next Bachelor? Because that's what it seemed like he was angling for.
I don't know, but he just seems like a jerk. Even after he got down on one knee and apologized to everyone, I just felt like... he's so plasticky fake.
It just kept going on and on and on.
When somebody tried to get him up off of his knees, he was like, no. No.
I am being humble. How awesome is that?
My 15 minutes of fame is not up yet.
All right.
Don't touch me.
Well, how about Clint? Is his time up?
Clint had a lot of issues tonight. Clint seemed to be really disgusted by the whole gay situation. Really disgusted, which kind of really pisses me off.
Yeah.
He seemed really arrogant, even tonight.
I feel like he was not happy with his edit on the show, but like, if you're putting that stuff out there of like being a jerk, people are gonna see it.
Did he ever make up with JJ?
I think so.
Are they friends? Like,
I think so.
After the show now?
Yeah, I feel like they are.
Because it seemed like he didn't want to have anything to do with him at all.
Well, JJ brought up a good point. He was like, everybody like hates Clint or whatever, but like I did everything that he did and I'm not getting the same response. But you know what?
I didn't like JJ.
Yeah, I thought he was getting the same response. I mean, I think it was toned down a little bit towards the end because he stuck around a little longer. But
yeah. I didn't appreciate the whole thing when JJ got up and he threw out all these double entendres out there, like the intellectually curious, bi-curious, do you mean? And, you know, the meat of the situation.
Yeah.
Because everybody in the audience was just like, oh.
The audience reactions on the Men Tell All and after the final rose are always so ridiculous. Which makes it great, but so ridiculous. I'm just like cringing watching everyone be like,
yeah. Well, Koopa was pretty pissed about Nick being on the show.
He was. He had a lot to say.
Half the guys agreed.
We all left our jobs and like put our lives on hold to be here, blah, 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 and you let Nick come on the show. And they kept bringing up how she said early on, like, oh, my husband's in this room.
Yeah.
But then she brought him onto the show.
Yeah. Nobody said he won yet.
Maybe he's still in the room. Who knows? I mean, seriously.
Did Koopa really think he was going to have a shot anyway? Do you think she would have gone for a guy who wears his tie on the inside of his collar? Really?
Yeah.
That was not a good look.
All right. Well, then it's time to talk about JJ a little more in depth.
Remember how he flipped on Clint?
Yeah. You owe all of us an apology right now.
Then he cried like a bitch. Then he slapped himself in the face. How is this the father of a 3-year-old?
It is.
He's acting like a 2-year-old.
Oh.
But consolation prize, he's going to Intercourse Island.
Oh boy, that's awesome. Okay, let's talk about Ben Z. I was not a fan of Ben Z in the beginning, like the first, with like the boxing and stuff.
Yeah.
Then I was just like, oh my god, this guy is so
seems really sweet. Yeah.
So sweet.
I didn't appreciate him during the season, but like you said, definitely now. He seems like a genuine guy.
Mm-hmm. Chris Harrison brought up how he said he hasn't cried in like 11 years. That's crazy.
That is crazy. I could see that happening though, because he probably just like blocks out a lot because he doesn't want to feel that pain.
Mm-hmm.
And he was totally blindsided by Kaitlyn.
It was at a rough time too because he had to go on that like funeral date.
Wake date.
Just brings up
I don't know
memories.
Who's responsible for that, but I think that is so uncool.
I read somewhere that like the Bachelor or the Bachelorette gets to pick who goes on what date. So
that's pretty cold.
It was kind of
picked that.
Kind of poor planning there, but
well, what do you expect from somebody with bird tattoos on the back of their arms that's afraid of birds?
She can't see them.
Hello, ever seen a mirror?
All right, well, Jared's the next one in the hot seat.
AKA Rasputin. I liked him.
Yeah, he was fun. I felt like he was
genuine.
He was kind of like different from what we usually see on this show, I think.
It was hard for him to watch the show back because they really did have a connection. He was a sweet guy. He didn't treat her like crap.
No, good.
He's not over her, but he went down a notch in my eyes because he's going to Intercourse Island.
Jared, what are you doing? I feel like that's so out of, like, character for him, you know?
Yeah. Is he going to be disgusted and be like, ew, get out?
I don't think so.
I'm leaving.
All right, well, then it was time to talk to Ben H. But before they could actually talk to him, we had to listen to, like, 15 minutes of, woo! Yeah!
Whoa, he's hot.
Ah! People were going nuts in the crowd. I mean, yeah, he's hot, but like, calm down.
You know what? I think he's a little full of himself now, too.
Well, I think, you know, he's been getting a lot of positive response from the show.
He's got that face down that...
What's up? It's one of those.
What went wrong, Peter Brady? What went wrong? You were hanging out against the rules of the show for 6 hours
about
in your room.
The way that they talked about it before, it made it sound like she went down there for like half an hour or like an hour and hung out with them. 6 hours?
6
off camera?
hours with Sean and him in bed.
And why would Sean not share the king-size bed with Ben? Why did he have to...
Why do you have to sleep on a freaking cot?
You can't just share the bed?
That was kind of a bitch move. I don't like Sean for doing that. All right.
All right, but then... Chris Harrison was like, okay, now you know what Kaitlyn said to Sean, and Ben was just like, yeah, totally makes sense. Like, lines up with how I felt about it.
Yeah. All right, so bring out Kaitlyn. She's wearing a very questionable dress, because that seems to be the buzzword for loose girl this season. Questionable. You've made a lot of questionable decisions this season.
Controversial.
Controversial
is
as
the word
well.
you're looking for.
Well, I think it was questionable, too.
All right. Well, she comes out. It's time to talk to her, and I felt like it was definitely a different vibe than what we usually get on Men Tell All. There was a lot about the way that she's been portrayed and talked about in the press. I mean, it was like really sad to hear how people talk about her.
She said it really affected her family. She got death threats. Chris Harrison pulled out some papers on his lap and he read some tweets.
What is wrong with people?
An email. I mean, yes, she's made some questionable decisions on the show, but I don't agree with those tweets.
No, that was awful.
That was awful.
So messed up. Oh my gosh. I can't understand how people can say things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they feel safe because they're behind the computer screen. But still, like, that's so awful.
Yeah. So everybody went nuts. Nuts.
It looked like Ben Z was tearing up a little bit. It looked like he was about to cry.
I think so.
I mean, that could have been good for him, so...
It could have been. All right, so my beef with her is, why didn't she tell everybody that she did Nick?
Yeah.
Really?
No, that question did come up, and she kind of, like, skirted around the issue. It was a little weird that she only felt the need to tell Sean. Yeah. And not everyone else. She was like, well, trust is, like, really important to Sean. I think trust is important to most people.
I'm sorry. If I'm dating someone and they're doing someone else, I think I'd like to know.
Yeah. So, Jonathan was talking a little bit of smack about Kaitlyn.
He should not be talking because he didn't even vote for her. He voted for Britt.
She slapped him down. It was awesome.
Okay. So then Ryan was there. You know, the guy who was all horned up. She gave a little mini roast to some of her least favorites. And she's like, yeah, great hair.
I thought he gave her a rose.
He did give her a rose, but she was like, great hair.
Yeah.
What's with the high school hair?
It was high school hair.
Yeah. And then...
Kaitlyn had some questions for the guys.
I know, I'm choking over here. I just had a somersault before I came down here, okay? You know, the little sunflowers.
Stop. So Kaitlyn is like, Clint, I'm a little upset that you didn't treat me as good as you treated JJ. What's up with that?
Clint wasn't saying a word. He was just like...
Yeah, it was like really weird. I don't know. Weird vibe there.
Yeah, he's tired of it.
And then Ian, again, on the apology tour, he brings her a note. It was like Dance Moms when they mess up.
I have a note for you.
I have a card for you. So we didn't get to see it, but apparently throughout the season, Ian was giving her these notes, but we never saw it. So this was like his last note as an apology.
There's a lot of stuff we didn't see.
Of course.
All right. I mean, that was pivotal. And then it's time for bloopers.
Woo!
Joe peed in the bushes.
Right after being like, I could kiss you and only you for like the next 60 years. I gotta go take a piss.
Where's the toilet? Oh, okay.
Okay, it's in the bushes over there.
All right. She's afraid of birds.
Like really afraid of birds.
Yeah. So it's the flapping. It's weird. Bug in her lip gloss.
I thought that was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny.
What do you think about those guys in those sumo diapers?
All right.
Lip gloss.
Joe putting on the bird head was probably the best moment of the season. Chasing her around.
But she was just like, this is weird. It's weird.
All right. Well, that was a little light on the bloopers, but
I don't know. I thought the bloopers were pretty good.
Bloopers.
Pretty good.
Next week it's finally the finale.
Whoa.
The finally finale.
Who is she gonna pick? It's down to Nick or Sean.
I'm kind of rooting for Nick, but I know the outcome already, so...
Okay.
They say I won't believe it, but I say, oh,
I'll reality
I will.
Steve it.
Yeah. I believe it.
Right. So let us know what you guys think in the comments. Who are you happy to see again?
Don't believe it, just watch.
Yeah.
Let us know. And until next time,
much love.
Edit.